everyone. Today I'm doing a little Q&A. I haven't done this on YouTube before, so this is my first YouTube Q&A, but I've done IGTV ones and stuff, and they've always gone down really well. So I thought I'd do another one, and a week or so ago I asked people to ask me questions over on my Instagram that I'm going to answer today. Work related, me related, whatever you guys wanted. If you're new here, make sure to check out my Instagram where I post cute fit pics. Check out my Depop where I sell vintage, and check out my website where I sell my own designs, which is including this little top with this cute lace up back, which is part of a two-piece that we're releasing next week. So make sure to check all of that out. Thank you so much for all the questions. I'm really excited to go through them. Okay, let's just get into it. How did you start your brand? Did you study fashion in any way? So I've been running my brand for about 7 years now. I started on Depop about 7 years ago, and then I started doing my own designs probably 4 years ago. And no, I didn't study fashion at all. And this is one of my favorite things to talk about, because you really don't need to study fashion to work in fashion. Thanks to social media and everything like that, I think you can really develop and showcase your talents without going down conventional routes into fashion. I never even had any fashion internships or anything, and I actually applied for some and never got them because people wouldn't recognize my experience of running my business as experience, the required experience to get fashion internships. And without fashion internships, it's really hard to get jobs in the conventional fashion industry. But luckily there's this new side of the industry that's evolving through brands that operate on Instagram and things like that, that you don't need necessarily that experience. So I did French and Italian at uni. The girls that work for me did French and politics. Ray is studying business, and then Mia didn't go to uni, and all of the three girls are perfectly suited to work for me, and they're not at any disadvantage by not having studied fashion. So yeah, it's really interesting to see how that's changing, and how people are now starting to recognize that you can have the skills to be amazing in fashion without having spent X amount of money going to fashion school or all of those things. For example, I can't draw. It's always a bit of a joke in the office that I literally cannot draw to save my life. And as a designer, you think that you need to be able to draw, but I show what I want through clothes. That's how I understand things and how I communicate ideas. So with my manufacturer, I'll show him design, I'll show him vintage pieces and other pieces that I want to take inspiration from. I want the leg shape of this, the zip of this, the pocket of this, or whatever. And I actually did not need to draw at all, and for the first few years I didn't do any drawings. And then once I started having a graphic designer on my team, then we do product drawings, which we send to my manufacturer to help illustrate the point. But yeah, I've really enjoyed my route into fashion, and it was stressful at times when I couldn't get a job in conventional fashion, but it worked out for the best because I ended up starting my own brand anyway. When did you start? What's your favorite shoe brand? Okay, so we're obviously talking vintage here because there aren't that many modern shoe brands that I like, but probably Steve Madden. Steve Madden, mule, sliders, sandals, whatever you want to call them, are to me, the ultimate shoe. I love them so much. They look good with everything, and they're just so classic, so 90s. But then I also love the different shoes that Steve Madden used to do as well, the platform loafers, the strappy sandal heels, all of that stuff. I love, love, love Steve Madden. But other vintage shoe brands I like is Skechers. I always wear my Skechers. And then modern shoe brands, I really like Jeffrey Campbell. I just bought some shoes from them the other day and I love them. And they do good vintage vibe shoes as well. Kind of on the pricier end, but definitely a treat. And I spend so much money on vintage shoes anyway, so it's fine. Favorite trend for spring summer 22? I think that this summer it's going to be less print heavy than last summer, which I'm happy about, because prints because of TikTok and Instagram just come and go so quickly. So I think for me at least this summer it's going to be classic, refined, lots of khaki and beige and like baby pink and baby blue. That's kind of my like colour scheme for this summer. And I think that the sporty vibe is going to be quite big, like starting from the Spice Girls and all that stuff, but cargo skirts were huge this winter. I've always loved them, and I'm really happy to see that people are loving them too. And this summer I think they're going to just carry on being big because they've been big for winter and spring. And if you're interested in cargo skirts, definitely keep an eye out on my Instagram, because we will be releasing, I'm not going to say too much, but just keep an eye out, you know. If you were an animal, what would you be? That's actually quite a hard question. Probably a cat, because I love cats. I don't know if I'm that like feline though, but yeah, probably a cat. They're just cute, like snuggly, cozy. I haven't met that many bad cats, although I know some people hate them. But yeah, they're just cute. What part of London do you live, and where do you think is the best place to live in terms of rent, lifestyle, and everything like that? So I live in East London. It's my favourite area. I lived in Camden for like 4 years while I was at uni at UCL, because it was near. Fun at the time, but ultimately I hate Camden so much. Like, it's not for me personally, it's too touristy. I never hang out there now. I love East London because there's stuff to do on the weekend. All my friends live here. It's a good place to be for fashion as well. Like, a lot of people I know who are also running their brands I've met like in East, so yeah, I would recommend it. How do you start a brand? Do you need to sew everything yourself? Can you send to factories to produce? How do you grow your Instagram? Very broad question, and I'd love to do a whole video on this, but just briefly, how do you start your brand? You just start, you just go for it. Like, I think organic growth is really important. I've seen brands like have a huge, really quick rise to being popular, and it can disappear just as quickly. So for me, it's really been about gradually building my customer base. Like, I may not have the most followers of brands that I follow, I may not have this or that, but I have a really loyal customer base, and I love my customers so much. I value them because they've been following me for so long, and the new ones, the new customers that are finding me now, like, I know that they'll just keep on buying the collections that and the designs that I'm dropping and stuff, because you kind of buy into like the whole aesthetic. So what's worked well for me is like keeping it very personal to me. Obviously it's my name, I'm not anonymous, like I'm in all the photos, and I've really tied it to myself, which I think there are downsides to that in terms of just like having a good private / work life separation and whatever. But for me it's just worked well because the things that I sell are so like authentically me, and that's the same with Depop as well. It's all stuff that I'd wear, stuff that I'm into, trends that I think are going to be big or are already big. I think if you like really make it a bit of you, then that's going to be more successful, because you have to really believe in the stuff that you're selling and the stuff that you're making. And when it comes to design, that's really important. If you're focusing on what's going to be big that other people think are cool, then you'll just get lost in it and you'll just end up doing the same thing as everyone else. But if you're focusing on what is really you, you're going to do better. So for example, one of my favorite things that I've released is my club collection, which I'll put a picture in, and my Lindsay shirt. And these things are so me because they're so 90s and they're so simple, and they'll never ever go out of fashion, in my opinion anyway. I hope so. But like, it's just so classic and so 90s, and I experiment with more like out there stuff, or out there for me anyway. Like, I experiment with different stuff, and that's good for like mixing it up, but my like core designs will always be like classic and simple and 90s, because that's what I want to wear the most, and that's what I think I should, that's what I want other people, that's what I want to see other people wearing the most as well. So yeah, do you need to sew everything yourself? No, you don't. I know how to sew, but not at the level that I would be comfortable selling stuff that I've sewn. You don't need to sew. You can start by getting a seamstress. You can find a sewing studio or a factory. I would always recommend getting your stuff made in England if you're based in England at the moment. Like, the British textile industry is so amazing. You just don't need to go anywhere else. So yeah, that's what I'll say on that for now, but I will do a whole video on business related questions, and you guys can send in your questions again. Do you plan to do any internships? I love what you do. Your business is so inspiring. Thank you. That's very sweet. So we're currently running an internship at the moment. Applications just closed on Sunday for this summer, and it's a summer internship open to people of colour only. And that's something that was really important for me to do as a summer internship, because I think fashion is very exclusionary, mainly because of like how much unpaid labor there is. Like, it just rules out so many people immediately, because most people can't afford to work for free, especially not in London. And it is a very white industry, and it is a very, yeah, it's just not as diverse as it should be. So I really wanted to do that for this summer, and I think I'm just going to do that every summer from now on. And then apart from that, those are the internships that's the internship that I'm running at the moment. I don't really have capacity to do more, but I am, when I'm hiring, I always advertise on Instagram as well. So if you're looking to work with me, we're not hiring for permanent positions at the moment, but make sure to keep an eye on my Instagram if I ever do post, because that's how I've hired all my employees in the past. Yeah, I've never actually done it any other way, and I think it can be quite overwhelming because you get a lot of applications, but I think in a business like mine, it's really important who you work with and that you will get on and you will vibe together. And doing it through Instagram means you can really get like a sense of people, and they know the brand and everything. If I just did it on, like, I don't know, Glassdoor, is that one? I just don't think that would work very well for me. Best life advice. My best life advice would be, like, surround yourself with amazing friends. I think friends are like the most important thing, and all sorts of situations will happen in your life, but it's your friends who are like surrounding you that really like make or break you. And I have an amazing group of friends. I love them so much. I live with 3 of my best friends, and yeah, I think that is so important. Other life advice, it's actually quite hard to think of life advice for, like, I'm quite good at, well, I really enjoy giving advice to people in like one-on-one situations, but it's quite hard to just like give general advice to people. As I've gotten older, I've gotten better at saying no to stuff. So I really like to chill, like Monday to Thursday, or like Monday to Wednesday, and then Thursday I'll go out and do something. Because I live with my friends as well, like we always have nice dinners together and stuff. So I would say, like, as I've gotten older, I've learned that, like, I don't have to go out and do everything. I can just chill the nights that I need to chill, listen to my body. Like, usually I just go and like leave work, go to the gym, go home, have a really nice meal, and then like read or watch TV in bed or whatever. And I feel so much more rested and fulfilled when I do that, and then like do something fun Thursday night and the weekend and whatever. But I used to think I had to do something every single night, and I feel like since COVID as well, like, it's really taught me to just slow down and enjoy it. Oh, I have a good piece of life advice. It doesn't apply to everyone because not everyone loves spending time by themselves. But I used to say, like, I would never live by myself. I hate being by myself. I'm so scared to be by myself. Now I literally love it. Like, I took myself away for the weekend to Brighton a couple of months ago. I like love spending time by myself. Even like, I don't know, I'll go to the gym and then I'll just sit in the sauna for ages and, like, I don't know, just walk around Shoreditch by myself. And I just love it so much because I think it gives me time to recharge, think my thoughts, do what I need to do, and then I can be like my best self for other people. If you're constantly surrounded by people, I don't think that, you know, I think you just need to have some time by yourself and recharge, and not be scared to be by yourself as well. But if you're younger, I've been there, I understand like being scared of being by yourself, but I'm definitely going to live by myself at some point in the future, and I'm really looking forward to it. Where do you get your Depop stock from? So I have a main supplier and a buyer. So my buyer, Mia, is on my payroll. She's a contracted employee of mine, and she sources for me. And then my supplier does the same, and she's not a contracted employee of mine, but I see her just as regularly, and she sources me loads of stock. And they both source really different things for me, so like together they kind of complete the whole picture. So that's how I get my vintage stock from, but obviously I can't share exactly where I get it from because I'm gonna have some secrets. Where is your flower belly bar from? It's from eBay. What's your dream job or life? This is my dream job. I'm very, very lucky to say that this is my dream job and my dream life. Like, me and my friends always talk about it. It's so nice, like just living in London at our age, and when we're like dress up all cute and we're going to the pub or we're just walking around, and I just love it. I'm literally living the life that I like wanted when I was younger, and I love my job so much as well. Was there a moment where you felt like giving up on selling because of difficult customers? Definitely not. Like, I've had really some difficult customer service situations, and I've dealt with some like quite unpleasant situations in the past, but it never like puts me off doing it, because that's just like a customer facing job. That's just how it works. And like, the problem is, I guess, that like, because of our accessibility to people, how easy it is to drop someone a message or an email or a DM or a comment, like, if you're constantly getting all this feedback on yourself or your service or whatever, and it's quite overwhelming sometimes to like look at it all, and usually the negative ones really stand out. So you can get 10 amazing messages and one nasty message, and it's always the nasty message that you remember the most. So I'm just trying to like switch my thinking on that, and if I get an unpleasant situation, then I just try and deal with it and move on, and realize that you can't be perfect, and people are just gonna sometimes not be that nice, or you're gonna have a difficult situation. But it never puts me off, you know, like, I love this job so much, and something like that wouldn't put me off. Skincare tips. I'm not the best person to ask because my skin isn't great, but recently I was on Duac for ages, and I recently, it just wasn't working for me anymore. It was working really, really well last year. Then I went off it in the summer because my skin was healed. Then it came back, my acne, in like December. Went back on it again, and it just wasn't doing the same, but I think it's because it's got antibiotics in it, you build a resistance. I'm literally not a doctor, but that's what I assume anyway. Didn't know what to do. I was using African black soap and a bunch of other skincare products, and African black soap works really, really well for acne on my shoulders and back, and it did used to work for my face too, but I actually think it's too harsh, so I switched to the Inculus oat milk oat cleanser balm, not oat milk, oat cleansing balm. And I just do that. What I do is I like leave it on my face for a couple of, like, rub it in, leave it on my face for a couple of minutes, and then wash it off. And just a really simple moisturizer, and I just use Acnicide, which is, you can get it from the UK pharmacist, and it's just benzoyl peroxide, and that's it, which is the other ingredient in Duac apart from the antibiotics. And my skin suddenly got so much better, so I'm getting there. And then I use the Pi Skincare Rosehip Oil because I'm trying to get rid of all my marks on my face, but I'm just trying to not care about it that much, because I'm just keep my routine simple, focus on other stuff, and hopefully it will get better. How do you decide what to pay yourself and how to budget for employees? I just pay myself every week and pay my rent, and then I keep the rest of my money in my business to reinvest and reinvest and reinvest. That's the best thing to do with your money, in my opinion. Don't be shy to reinvest. I think that that's how you get the furthest. I don't have any investment from anyone else. I just like fund this business myself. So yeah, it's important to keep the money in the business. I decide how to pay my employees based on what I think is like, just what I think is fair, basically, which is definitely above the average for fashion roles, but pretty much on average for starting salaries, and then I increase their pay as the business grows. So I think it's really important to show your employees that you appreciate them, and ultimately money is the thing that talks the most, because in London or wherever you live, like, rent is expensive, you have to pay rent, you have to pay your bills and stuff. So I think showing your appreciation through salary is the thing that speaks the loudest. And yeah, I mean, I'm always looking to increase salaries where I can, if I can, and it's important for me to be like consistent with that. One thing that's really important is that I always have enough money in my account to like if I don't make any sales for 6 months, I have enough money in my account to pay everyone. That is the most important thing. It's a huge responsibility when you take on employees, and people's like rent and their livelihoods rely on money coming from you. You need to make sure that you can always pay that regardless of whatever's going on in the business, because if that goes, like, you just need to be able to offer stability. Basically, people are trusting you as their employee to provide that stability, so you need to be you really need to take that seriously. How do you try to not get burnt out? I don't work Fridays, so I work Monday to Thursday, and basically, like, because I'm working, we leave, like, work ends for everyone at 4:30, and then sometimes I stay a bit later, but usually not because I'm going to go to the gym or something. Then I'm on my phone most of the evening doing Depop stuff, doing Instagram, so that's like work, but it's not like in the office work. So I have like work, which is when I'm here, shooting, listing, production planning, all that stuff. And then I have sort of work where I'm doing like Depop messages, Instagram posting, all that stuff. So Monday to Thursday is quite full on. Friday I take off. Usually I do a couple of hours of admin, but generally I take it off so I can like just have a nice relaxing day, and then Saturday and Sunday I take off as well. Friday, Saturday, Sunday I'm still doing like Depop messages and stuff like that. I used to take the weekends off from Depop messages, but I stopped doing that. Don't know why, and now it's just hard to stop it again. But I think that having that Friday off is so important. I think that's actually what saves me from not getting burnt out, because I can do all the things that I want to do that day. Like if it's like, I don't know, cook something nice, or I've got errands to run or whatever. If I do have work that I really need to do, then I'll do it for a couple of hours. But just having that day to myself, and then for the weekend I have more free time to like do stuff with my friends and whatever, because I'm not like needing to recover from the week of work. I've recovered from the week of work, and now I've got Saturday and Sunday. Where do I find good black tights? M&S? Are you veggie or vegan? No, I'm not. What are your favourite pop culture moments? Ooh, this is a hard one. I just love 90s red carpet looks. They're honestly my favourite to me. Like, I love the outfits, I love the hair, I love the makeup. So I love looking through images of all that. I love just anything to do with Britney, like all of her old concerts, behind the scenes footage of her like tour diaries, all that stuff. I just love it. I'm just obsessed with the 90s and the early 2000s, the clothes, but also just the culture of that time. And I always try and like, what's the word, incorporate that into my like shoots and my inspo and stuff like that, because I just love referencing all that stuff. Just like makes me think of a cooler time, even though I was barely alive then because I was born in 97. Who are your all-time fashion inspos? Jennifer Aniston, immediately. Like her 90s looks, I love all her Rachel Green looks, especially like, well, just all of them, but like the cargos, the outfits she used to wear to Ralph Lauren, like all of it, I love that stuff. But I also love like what the actress used to wear in the time as well. I love like 90s pop stars like Britney and Destiny's Child and their outfits. That's my love at the moment. Clueless, like, love, that's a good one. The Sopranos, Meadow Soprano and Adriana in The Sopranos are huge fashion inspo for me. Outfits in 10 Things I Hate About You. I just love like absorbing the culture of the 90s and then just kind of trying to replicate it through vintage and then also my own designs. How was your A-level experience? I did French, Italian, politics, and then I did a maths AS. I went to a really good school and worked really hard, so I didn't have like the most fun in sixth form. I still have fun though, like it was good, but I just worked really hard. I always like took exams quite seriously, and I take on a lot of stress with stuff like that, so I found it quite stressful, but still had fun and went out with my friends. I got a job in summer. Like, I remember the summer that I finished sixth form being one of the most fun summers ever. Okay, what do you do outside of work? What are your hobbies? So I hang out with my friends loads. We go for a roast every single Sunday. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I love going for a roast. So we go every Sunday and do that. I spend a lot of time looking for clothes, which is like kind of work, but I end up keeping a lot of it, so I don't know whether you can say that's work. I like to read. I like doing Pilates. I do that a lot. My favorite workout. I'm really into cooking as well and making juices and smoothies, which isn't cooking, but I really like cooking. I have a pressure cooker. Highly recommend if anyone's thinking of getting one. They're like £100 for it. It's definitely an investment, but oh my god, you can make the best food in a pressure cooker, like stews and like risotto and like more stews. It sounds weird, like who would make a stew, but they're so good. I really, really love cooking. I got really into like cooking ottolenghi recipes in lockdown, but now I've like branched out a bit. What's your favourite item of clothing? My favourite item of clothing has to be my Kenzo mesh dress, which I got in a charity shop in Notting Hill for £80, like 4, 5 years, 6 years ago. At the time, it felt so expensive, and I was like, I literally tried it on, looked at myself in the mirror, loved it, and then I was like, it's too expensive. Left the shop, and then I went back and had to get it because I just love it so much, and I'm so glad I did because I wear it all the time. I'll put in a picture. It's like my favorite dress ever. I think that's everything. I think that's all the questions. Oh, what's my sun sign? Is that the same as my star sign? I'm a Gemini. I don't know what a sun sign is. Yeah, that's as many questions as I can fit in. I feel like I've been talking for ages. But thank you so much for sending in your questions. I really enjoyed doing this, and I think I am going to do a business one specifically as well. If you want business tips and stuff, then let me know. Make sure to subscribe to see all my future videos, and make sure to check out my socials. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.